I'm Chris Marvell.
And I'm Jazmine Marie.
Welcome to the Fresh Life. You can have, really large, releases and large parties, which are great because you should. But I feel like a journal is something that is much more intimate. It's something that is very personal. And so we wanted to, create that climate and environment for you all so that when you, for the first time you grab it, you feel like, man, this is real personal. This is something, especially for me. So again, with my, partner, my beautiful wife, Jazmine Marie, y'all give it up for her. We have spent countless months creating this journal, and we did it with you in mind. And so I am, I would really say that, I would believe that, I am 50-50 in this whole aspect of creating this, but if I were being honest, this is a 60-40 mission that Jazmine has taken over. So if y'all allow me to, give the floor over to my beautiful wife and partner in crime, Miss Jazmine Marie.
Okay, thank you. I'm really excited. I just want to really take a moment just to be in the moment because this journal was a bit of a process that me and Chris decided to do together, and it's finally here, and that's just really exciting to kind of birth something. So how did it come about? Why did we create it? I guess it's where I kind of want to start, and it's really because we're both on a journey of living a more whole life, of living a life where we are on a journey of healing and wholeness and discovery. And in order to do that, we had to become really intentional about our mindsets, about our dreams, about our goals, about the vision that we have for our life. And so years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we started to ask each other in the mornings, what's your wins for today? And we got that from something. I don't even really remember where we got that from, but Chris will ask me, what's your win for today? And I would ask him what's his wins, or he would text me my wins for today is these 3 things or these 4 things. And it kind of just helped us to be really intentional. So that was one thing that we used to always do together. And then another thing we do is we do the hard things. So it is a way that we just have it hung up in our kitchen and in our bedroom, in our office. And we just do the hard things, whatever that might look like in our life. So at a time when we were going through a lot in our marriage, the hard thing was to have hard conversations. It was to be honest. It was to ask tough questions. It was to hold each other accountable. It was to forgive. So those were the hard things. Every day, we do the hard things. I'm gonna show up for this marriage. I'm gonna show up for you. I'm gonna show up for our kids. And even if that's really challenging, I'm gonna do that thing. And so we just kind of those were key words that were kind of always in our relationship. It was code language, basically, that we understood what it meant. And even in an argument, it's come on, do the hard thing. Stay here, stay present, don't walk away. I was big on walking away in an argument. I'm done.
Scoot.
I'm out of here.
There's
nothing else to talk about. So the hard thing for me was staying and being present and things like that. So that was code language we kind of just used for years. And then we just realized that it's helped us so much, and we put it in this journal. Those were the 2 big things we put in the journal. Then other things surrounded it that were important to us.
So, I think, again, with the thought in mind was, you can go to Barnes & Noble and pick up, an expensive leather journal that looks like it's from Game of Thrones, and it's got all the leather that you could wrap around 10 times, I
love Game of Thrones. I just
no shade against Game of Thrones.
I just wanted to make sure.
Even though you left me in watching it and binge watching it, that's a whole nother story. But the thing is about the journal on this is that you can also buy a planner. And if the planner will break down your day, and that may work for a lot of people. I'm not against that either. But I couldn't find anything that mattered to my mind and my heart. That was something that on a daily basis, that was consistent. That was tough for me. And so when we sat down, it's okay, we have these ideas about how we see the day going, but how by 3 o'clock have we been derailed off of that? Has something that worked totally taken us off what a win looks like? By 6 o'clock when you got the kids and you're dog tired, are you still feeling as grateful as you were when you woke up this morning? So when we sat down and we started creating it, we said we only got so much space to put in here. Okay, we didn't want to give y'all a big binder, but what is the most important things in our life? And this is what works for us. So when we talk about, in the journal, today I am grateful for, I wake up with being intentional. We was talking downstairs in our pods, about New Year's resolutions. And I said that I don't necessarily do resolutions anymore. I do New Year's themes. And a theme over my year, this year for us both, was being intentional. That how we spend our time, how we spend our money, how we, just what dreams and ideas that we have, because we have plenty of ideas. But how do we spend that time? I want to be intentional. So when I wake up in the morning, I think about intentional. So I'm very intentional about being grateful in the morning. What matters to me the most? Is it looking at Jazz and she's still asleep, although that's very rare because she always wakes up before me. Is it, when I wake up and, Caleb has half of his body off the bed and I'm like, but at least he's still breathing. He ain't got no cover on his body, but at least he's still here. And somebody's son is not in their bed anymore. Is it the fact that, I didn't wake up, and it was 60 other people around me because I'm in a shelter. I live in my own home. Like, it's being grateful and being intentional about that, because how many of us know that that's not guaranteed? I mean, you can get a phone call any day of the week where you've heard somebody else's life change, or you went through a life-changing situation. And it's in these moments, you know what I compare it to? When you got a cold, you ever been like sniffling and stuff, and you be like, oh Lord, like if you just let me breathe clear again, I promise you I'll appreciate them breaths again. Right. And as soon as you start feeling better, you forget how it felt to have a cold. And you take that for granted. And so it's the same thing in life. And I think about that when it comes to just being, just being grateful and starting my day with gratitude.
Yeah, that's good. The reason why gratitude was really important for me was I have found myself waking up in scarcity too often. So like, oh my goodness, as soon as I open my eyes, here's a kid asking me for oatmeal. Or it's like I didn't get enough sleep. I don't have nothing to wear. I don't have enough time. And so like those sometimes could be like the first things you think about, especially if you wake up late or you wake up, like if I wake up at 7 is the time that my whole house needs to really start getting up. So that's kind of early, I would say, but so sometimes I sleep in. If I wake up at 7, I could immediately start having those thoughts like, oh, I don't have enough time. Oh, I didn't do nothing for me. Oh, I missed the gym. Oh, this. So you can just immediately wake up to these negative thoughts. And so the practice of gratitude, just doing that like in the morning and being in that type of routine helps me to, when I first open my eyes, to stay in that place. Like even though I do it in my journal, but because it's like kind of a practice for me now, I kind of just wake up in a place of gratitude. Like just, Lord, thank you for waking me up this morning. Thank you for this day. And then when I'm actually in my actual journal, the gratitude parts help me to be mindful more than anything. I try to be very present in that moment. Like, it can be simple stuff like, thank you for this coffee I'm drinking. Thank you for the sun outside. But I try to be mindful and bring me into that present moment.
Like, I'll even say that, when it comes to gratitude, it's not all, again, what's positive. I think that the times you're most grateful are when you're in the most negative situation, right? Like, we could have been going back and forth and been in some really deep arguments or just had some major conflict. And, I could be sleeping on the couch and it's like, this couch is tight. Like, I'm 6'2", and me being on the couch makes me clearly reflect about how much I miss my bed, about being closer to my wife. And so, when you be grateful, I think you have to also be vulnerable to yourself. Yeah. You have to be vulnerable to yourself, because we can be grateful on the surface about material stuff. And that's usually where a lot of it starts. I'm grateful for all the things I have. But when you really think about the stuff you've come through, like that's what, you can really attach your journal into. Like you write some true stuff. Like, I'm grateful that 10 years ago, you know, the mental space that I was in was completely different, you know, and I'm not there. I remember 15 years ago waking up, you know, with depression all written all over me, but I'm not there anymore. Like, and you may have just woke up and that just crossed your mind, but writing that down, well, now a year later after you wrote it, you can reflect back on that, and gratitude is even more high. Because now, you know, you're like, wow, like I was in that place last year. Right. Or you can look back and say, wow, like I've really come a long way, and how did I do that? What was going on in my life that was so consistent? Because I feel like depression is coming back again. Like, what was I doing that kept that off of me? So a journal is a great, you know, it's a paper trail for goodness, for success or life. It's a paper trail that you can stack these up. You have 6 of these, you know, over the course of time. Right. You have a paper trail of how you've been doing.
Let me ask you this. How do you use the journal as it relates to like your personal productivity, like your life productivity, and then your profession productivity? Like, do you use it interchangeably?
I do. This is that, and that's again what makes this unique too, is that it's not just for work. It's not just for, you know, your straight personal side. Like when I wake up and I do the section called wins for the day, that is something that's important to me because I only got so much time in the day. How many people have children? All right, so you got kids, right? And then you also work, and you have to sleep, and you have to cook. You have to also maintain your house. So you have a lot of time that's not spent on you. So what I do is I like to write down at least three different things that if this day were over, I at least got these done. Right. Like at the bare minimum, if I got to stay up an extra hour because maybe I spent my time, you know, relaxing a little bit more than I should have, I'm going to get these 3 done. It ain't got to be 3. It could be one major one. Yeah. You could have been putting something off for a month. And if I don't do anything for the rest of the day, this will be the one win. That could be, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to talk to my boss about that raise because you've deserved it for over a year. And I'm going to do that. And when you look back in that journal, if you don't do it the day after, that makes you feel yucky. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's self-accountability. That's going to make you feel bad. Or it could simply be, you know, something personal. It could be, you know, I have to, you know, go over these bills because I've, you know, had male phobia for the last 2 months. And that's real. Right. But if you don't get it out your head, what I found out is we let these ideas swarm around in our head. They create anxiety because we're not getting them out. And so there's a bunch of problems just swirling in a pool in our head. And when we get them out, we start feeling better.
Right. But that's like, all I was going to say is that was one of the reasons why we put the brain drain in there. So have y'all ever heard of a brain drain? Anybody in here do brain drains or brain dumps? Okay. So we when I was in college, I used to always do a brain drain. And one time we were overwhelmed, like planning for the wedding or something. And I was like, Chris, just do a brain drain, just to get everything out of your head. And he just took them on his phone and he just listed everything. I mean, this list was so long, but we put that in the journal because that's a tool we still use. Like, I know for me especially, like when I keep things in my head about what I have to do, what has to get done, I automatically feel overwhelmed. I automatically feel full of anxiety. And so my brain drain just helps me get everything out, and then I can really see it right there in front of me, and then I can prioritize, okay, what's really important, what's just a fear, what's not real, what has to be done. So it's a good tool that we use in the journal too. And you were just talking about that.
Well, I do want to say we're about to move into the Q&A portion of the event. And so I have a few questions that I want to ask my sister and my bro right now. Yeah. So my first question, I want to take them back. A little bit. You know, I've seen you guys create the Fresh Life, but I don't really know the story behind the Fresh Life and how it became the Fresh Life. So how did that even start?
Oh, you have the mic. Okay.
All right. So the question was, how did the Fresh Life start? Okay. So, all right. So for many years before that, I was doing relationship coaching, and I met with a lot of different people, and I had the opportunity, of course, to then at some point, I said, Jazz, like, I need your help. Like, I need like you to come in on this because I can't speak to a lot of these issues that I'm meeting with people about because I'm a man. So I don't have that part of me that you do. So then Jazmine started coming in. She got certified as a marriage coach. And so we started, of course, going down that journey. But then the Fresh Life became something a little bit different because Jazmine went down a different pathway. And she started talking about, being whole and getting healed. And I said, that wasn't my area of specialty. But I was very interested in where she was going. And so I thought to myself, well, everyone's dealing with some type of relationship, whether it's, with some type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Loving relationship, or they're dealing with the work relationship, or their children, or parental. They're dealing with some type of relationship.
Yes.
But Jazmine was saying, but at the same time, we're dealing with all this stuff, and all this stuff from people creates these emotional wounds that we deal with. So she was dealing with that part, I'm dealing with this part, and we just thought, why don't we just marry the two?
Yeah.
Because everyone's dealing with the culmination of all of it. You're dealing with emotional stuff created by relationship stuff.
Right.
And so we wanted people, because we were on the journey of having a fresher life out of, all our own problems and situations. We were on a journey of having a fresher life. And we're like, well, why don't we help with the same strategies, help other people go through the same journey?
Yes, I would totally. Hey, I've been feeling. Whose ringtone is that?
That was so perfectly timed.
That's okay, Mama. That's okay. So for me, the fresh life. So yeah, so like exactly what Chris just said, and it was just we were on a journey together, and we were learning so much, and we were just growing leaps and bounds about in our personal relationship, as far as our marriage, as far as being parents, and we were just like, we just want to share. That's all. It's just that we are fellow travelers on the same road as everybody else, and so whatever information we was coming across, we just wanted to share it out. So that's how the Fresh Life began. It's always just about, we are constantly trying to be intentional about being the best version of ourselves, and whatever that might look like. I mean, that's just so vast. Best version of myself in so many different ways. And so that's just basically what the platform is all about, and just what we're learning and just sharing it out.
Who's all listened to the podcast?
Okay,
That's
yes.
fantastic.
Hello, thank you.
It looked like I spent a lot of time trying to design it and get it all looking good. It looks great. But what am I going to get out of this journal? That's what the people want to know.
Okay.
What are we going to practically get from this journey?
All right. Well, in the beginning, I took out time and I wrote what each section means, right? And how to use the section. And then I even gave an example page of how to use the section. But I don't really want you to, if that's not your jam, I don't want you to use it. I want you to make this whatever you want it to be. If you don't, like Trey told me the other day, he was like, I was doing I am feeling, but then when it came to what will I do to feel more invigorated, man, I just want to write how I'm feeling. I was like, I feel you, so I just want you to write how you're feeling. Some days this is just a letter to God, like mine started off with Dear God. Some days it's how I'm feeling. So whatever it is that you want it to be, make it that, okay? So the purpose of this journal is for you to be intentional to create the life you desire. Okay, this is, if y'all don't get nothing else, I want y'all to get this. We are the only ones that have the power to change our lives. We are the only ones who can create the life we truly desire. No one is coming to save us. No one is coming to do it for us. And once I really honed in on that and really got that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the work. Like whatever work it takes. So whatever type of mom I want to be, whatever type of wife I want to be, whatever type of daughter I want to be, I have to be intentional to be that person. And to be whole and to be healed and to show up for real in those relationships. So that's an example of so for that, those examples could be for wins for the day, for hard things, it could be surrounded in that. Some of you might want to create a life of being a business person or an entrepreneur or go back to school or whatever. That takes for you to be very intentional. You're going to have to set up some wins. You're going to have to do some hard things. So it's like, okay, I'm going to plan that out. What are my goals? So you can use the journal however you want. I want you guys to use it for productivity in any type of area of your life, in your relationships, in your career, so that's basically it, relationships and career. So what else am I missing? Your spirituality. Business, yes, absolutely. However you want to use it. So whatever your intentions are, whatever your goals are, use the journal in that way. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Any other questions that surrounds that?
Can I just chime in? So, and you don't have to raise your hand. You know who you are. I would say that for me, I do use it as a sense of organization too. So it's not just solely emotional. I've mentioned in our Mental Health in Us episode, part 1 and 2, how I was diagnosed with ADHD, about three years ago or so. And for me, like, I am Mr. Scatterbrain. Like, legit, like I have a lot of things I want to do, like, all the time, but if I do not write them down, they get lost. And then I'll come back to them later, or I'll start doing something and I'll be like, oh, let me actually go over here real quick, and then I'll be over here fixing the wall, and I was cooking dinner, and then, like, I'm fixing the wall. I'm like, man, the wall look good now, and the stove burning, and but I'm like, but both of those were good ideas, I mean, they both had to get done. But the journal for me puts things, it sets a tone for me, so I'm not scattered, and it's a debilitating feeling to not feel like you're in control of your day. That is a very stressful thing to deal with. And so for me, utilizing the journal, it allows me to prioritize and look back, reflect, and it keeps me in check. So it's an accountability system for me.
That's good.
I would definitely attest to that. So a little quick story about myself. When I started to use the journal, I've had it for about a week and I've been using it. I've been way more productive than the days that I haven't. Today was one of the days that I didn't. My day was really rushed and I didn't get to, and I felt overwhelmed a lot today. But my favorite part of the journal is the brain drain, because I can just write out all the stuff that's in my head and see it, and then I'm able to prioritize and say, no, this is the thing I need to tackle. So that's how I use it personally, and it's really helped me. So I appreciate you too for making it.
So this question is really kind of directed towards Jazzy. Where do you see this going, and what do you want to really bring out, like, in the very near future with the Fresh Life? Where do you see this going?
My dream, if I had to be so honest and vulnerable, is to speak all over the world with Chris.
Yes.
I just want to inspire, encourage, and teach. I want to just help people show up for themselves and their relationships. And so if I could do that, I would be really happy. So I just want the Fresh Life to be a platform of education and inspiration.
Awesome.
Yeah, all over the world.
I'm really proud of you guys with the Fresh Life, all that you've been doing. I've been watching y'all since y'all started it, and just how it's evolving. So moving on to my question, how did you? I know we all go through things and we grow through things, but how did you all get to this place where you were able to even mentally put out a Fresh Life? You know what I mean? How did you get there? Because it's like, I'm not with you guys on a day-to-day basis. I'm not inside of your household, but the Fresh Life I feel the energy is radiant. You know what I mean? So what did you all do, or how did you all get to that point where you were able to give people a glimpse of the Fresh Life?
One of the things I have a thing about, if you let's say you have an issue with anybody, you either can get behind the issue where it's controlling you, or you get in front of it and you are willing to say, I'm going to be first in resolving, that issue, whatever it might be. And so that's why it's live. This is exactly what I did want, though. I wanted a little chaos. Yes, so getting in front of stuff. So the main thing about how we created a Fresh Life was basically we decided that we wanted to get out in front with our experiences. Like, we have a slew of experience. We'll be married 9 years this year. Been together 12 as just, dating and all that sort of thing. So we've been through a lot, good, bad, and different. So we've seen, like, the whole spectrum. And so we know that we have something to share. And we can either sit on that and keep it in our house and, just keep it to ourselves, or we can be vulnerable. Like, and to me, the fun life in the Fresh Life is being vulnerable. Like, there's no better conversation than a vulnerable one. If it's between you and your best girl, when y'all sharing, that is the best conversation that you will ever have. But the one that's real boring is the one that's surface. the one you don't really know a person. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't give you anything. Like you move on from that. But the one that's deep, where you look across the room and it's like, man, they having a good time over there. Somebody being vulnerable. You know, somebody is really being transparent and giving of themselves. And so we knew that if we were going to want to speak, especially together, that when soon as people see us together, they see marriage and they see the things that come in marriage. So they don't want to hear about all the little cute stuff because they know that's not real. So all of our episodes thus far have been truly authentic. Like, and we try to give our very best. And when we turn the recorder off, we look at each other and we say that was either good or we didn't really give it all. And just probably to say, I believe, I don't know, maybe you can attest to it, that we've done a really good job of being
my
very
brain. I'm
vulnerable.
always like, but no, I think we always just hit record and we just go for it. But I sometimes, like, I'm the one that's always like, was that good? Was that good enough? Like, did we do it? You know what I mean? Chris always like, yes, it's good. We putting it up right now. But I need him to do that because I will overthink it. But for me, Coco, it was, we hit rock bottom and we had to figure our way back up. And that's what did it. That was the creation of it. It's like that journey of figuring our way back up. But what was it? I think it was just that sheer determination. It was God. It was the commitment that we made. It was knowing, like, no, we in this forever. And we never thought about ever not being together. So we want to enjoy this thing. I don't want to just be in a relationship with you until the kids turn 18, then we go our separate ways. Like, I want to love my life. I want to go home every day, like, excited that I'm in this relationship with you and I'm doing life with you. And it just, so that's how we kind of got to this point of just like the intentional work to get there. So that's how it was kind of birthed.
That's how you feel.
That's how I feel.
A married couple could bring together. So I think that's amazing that you already have your own things, but coming together, there's no greater force than that.
Thank you.
So my question is, I love the Fresh Life name. How are you going to make sure that it stays fresh?
Good question.
So she's now, touching the kids, and she's doing all this stuff and she's running around. She's like, excuse me, sir, can you check in? And now that lets me know, okay, I need to check back in and get back to the basics and get back to it. It's the same thing when it comes to your relationship. Like, we check in, and I think you have to, like, you can ignore two things, like, and these are two examples. You can ignore the noise on your car and believe that it's gonna go away. And eventually your car gonna break down. You know you ain't got as much money in the bank account as you think you do. And eventually you're gonna get to the bank and swipe that joint and it's not gonna work. Either point can be avoided if you truly checked in. But that takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to say, like, did I mess up in that area? Like, or did I say something wrong? Like, or to even, it takes courage to be like, listen, I don't like the way you talk to me. That takes a lot of courage because now you know there's confrontation. So we just do the hard things and we just try to just be honest, man. Like, I'm feeling, I don't know. I think it's just you have to get back to a space of, I'm willing to say what I don't want to say. I'm willing to have that conversation. And if you can do that, you keep the mess from piling up.
Just hold each other accountable to this work. Like, the real. Like, come on, man, you're not being honest, or not really honest. We don't really have that conversation anymore. But come on, man, you give me more, give me all of it. Like, get real vulnerable with me, get for real naked, And so, so just do it and show up for me.
It just take courage, man. It's not anybody that's married or been married knows that it's just not an easy. It's not an easy deal. I don't know why the portrayal is that, but it take work. It take real vulnerable, but it's great. It just take work.
It's good.
Any more questions out here? Here we go.
Hi guys.
Hi, Jazz.
My question is, how do you maintain a fresh life in the midst of being present on social media? And I was just looking through the journal, and really what's really ringing and sticking out to me is your wins. So, like, in the midst of seeing other people presumably winning when you might not feel like you're winning, like, how do you stay focused and maintain the fresh life? How do you keep that goal front and center in the midst of, like, you feeling like this is a big fail and, like, everybody is, like, winning.
Yeah. No, yeah, hashtag winning.
Yeah.
Because I realized I had to realize what am I on social media for? Like I just can't be on Instagram. I can't be on here. And it would just be so soul sucking for me. Like I didn't enjoy it. And I didn't really have a good why. And America writes about that in her book. Like, why are you on social media? And that is, I had to really answer that question because once I gave myself purpose on it, I was able to, I don't feel like that anymore. I don't feel like that irritable, that irritation I used to feel. So for me and having a fresh life on social media, it was having a purpose for it. Like, what am I on here for? Like, is it just to scroll and look at other people, or am I going to be impactful? Like, what is my gifts that I want to bring to it? So that has helped me tremendously. The other thing would be I have to unfollow people who I feel like are just not being authentic, or just not the kind of things that I want to see. Like, if you just keep messing with my spirit, like, I don't care how close we are, like, I'm about to unfollow you. And 9 times out of 10, you're not even gonna really know until you be like, I was posting about that. And I'm like, oh Lord, I didn't see it. But yeah, so I'm just trying to like on Instagram, like just following people who feed me and who motivate me, or following hashtags that motivate me, or different platforms like that, because that kind of keeps me inspired, keep me motivated. And then if I'm being all the way authentic, I will also say I do compare myself though, like still, to people, especially people who are doing things that I want to do. Like, they killing it. Like, look at her, she's speaking, she travels, like, or she's not fearful, she's going for it. Like, she's not holding back. Like, and so that type of thing, I just try to use that as motivation. I mean, sometimes I might just hit unfollow for a little bit, but I'm gonna come back to you because I need you. I need that type of energy, because that's real positive energy. But that's just me comparing myself because there's something in you that I like. There's something in you. You're not holding back. You're going for life. Like, you're not letting fear stop you. Like, and when I see that in other women, I be like, oh, like, I want that, especially if they're in the same field as me. So I just try to use that as energy, as to just, keep going.
I'm not up in that answer.
All right.
We got another question in the back from Grandma.
You are going to go somewhere because you have a desire in your heart. And I know you can do it because you were taught. Continue to have this dynamic life that you want is emotional support, because I do get angry, and I love to have a lot of joy in my life. So just give me something to encourage me to keep going forward.
I think, Grandma, if you do something that's very unique. You arrive and you truly show up. Like, if you continue to do that every day, like, that matters. Or just arriving, just waking up, getting dressed, and arriving. Like, you're present. You know what I mean? Like, you're not quitting. Like, you get dressed. Every time I see you, you're fresh. Every time I see you. But that matters. And to anybody, I would just say that if you're feeling like this moment, like, man, like, my joy has declined, understand that, like, I don't know a person that has stayed high on joy. I think the expectation of that is what can cause you to feel very low. Because the realistic aspect of it is that I'm going to go through some stuff. I'm going to go through some waves. I'm 34 years old, Grandma, and you're a couple years older than me. So, you've seen more life than I have. But you would know that you've had some great moments, and you've had some other moments that may not have been so great. But nonetheless, we still here. Mm-hmm. We arrived. We showed up. So, if anything, I would say keep doing that. And your time of hitting that high point in joy is right around the corner all over again. And that's for anybody. I mean, I remember just being, super low. I tell Jazz all the time when I came home from Cincinnati how I was, like, dumb low. All my friends, all my associates, I came home from school because I wasn't taking care of business in school. Just partying, kicking with girls, just wasting my time. But when I came home, it was a wake-up call. Like, I don't have nothing. Like, nothing at all. Like, no friends, no plan, no nothing. And I was dumb depressed. I was masking it. I looked like I was happy, you know, but I was just masking it. And I look back on that, like, how did I get out of that? And it was, I just attempted to change my energy. I changed the energy that was around me, you know, and that matters. You know, if you're feeling that way, like, okay, like, yeah, I'm feeling down, but yourself, like, what have you done the last 10 days that is different because you felt that way? Or what do you plan on doing the next 10 days so you can change it? If you don't have a plan for either or, then you're gonna probably be in the same place. And so that's I would just say that. Just keep showing up, keep making a plan.
I just want to say, Grandma, I love you. Thank you for always being here. Everything we have, you are here, like Chris said. So just continue to be you, because you are an amazing person, and you just always, just that consistency is everything. So, you know, thank you. Okay, so let me just say this in closing. Thank y'all from the bottom of my heart for being here. We literally sent this out via text because we just wanted truly close friends and family. And this it's exciting. You know, Chris put out a book. I helped him do that, but like, you know, I always wanted to put out a journal. I'm going to do more journals, but and books and whatever else God got for me. But it was exciting to do this with Chris. I think we did well. I would say we did well doing this. I mean, I don't think we got into too many arguments. I mean, you know, it was good, and we pushed each other. We leaned on each other's strengths, and we got it done. So thank y'all for being here. Thanks for being a part of this launch. It means the world to me. I'm just looking out at the audience and all the faces of people who actually pushed through after a busy day to be here. So truly, truly, truly thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. And all I ask is that if y'all love it, y'all tell somebody about it. Just tell one person, just like, this journal is really good. Post it, you know, tell a friend. I would really appreciate that.
So yeah, just hashtag the Fresh Life. And you know, the last thing I would say is just give us feedback. Like, we're open. Like, we don't have it figured out. Like, when I tell you, like, this is all a homegrown operation, like, all the way. Whether it's the podcast, whether it's the logo, whether it's the way, like, all of it is, you know, we not no millionaires, and we ain't made it and nothing like what we're doing. We just living this life every day like everybody else. And whatever we learn on Wednesday, like, if we record today, we'd be talking about it. Like, that's all we're doing. Like, it's not like rocket science, you know. And so, you know, I would say that anybody who wants to do a few things, if you want to start a podcast, if you want to start something on YouTube, if you want to start writing a book, like, do it. Like, just do it. Like, there's no perfect time, no season that's perfect. Like, do it. Because if you're in a bad season, guess what? You got something to say. And if you're in a good season, you got something to say about the bad season. But you got something to say to somebody who need to hear it. And so if you need help doing any of those things media-wise, like, let me know. But I just want y'all to do it. Go with your dreams. Like, we can watch and sit in seats and watch others do stuff that's dope and special and go to people's events. But I challenge you, because something is within everybody in this room. There's a small bit that you're hiding from everybody that you want to do. It's something super small. And I challenge you to bring that thing out before the end of the year. So thank y'all so much for coming. Give my wife a big round of applause as well. Again, I can clap you up all day long.